What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Happy Monday. I hope your week has gotten off to a great start. I'm here to do my weekly review of Married to Medicine. I almost got confused, guys, because I actually just did a video yesterday for Love and Marriage Huntsville, but I'm on target. It's Married to Medicine. And yes, it's me, guys. When I did my Love and Marriage Huntsville review yesterday, I had my braids in, but I took the braids out last night, washed my hair, conditioned my hair, all that good stuff, and now I have it in a bun. So it is me, and I am here, like I said, down here in these YouTube streets. I'm feeling good, guys. This is my birthday week, so I'm feeling good. And I hope you're having a good week thus far as well. So let's get started. Of course, this is season 12. This was episode 6, and it was called All in the Family. Now, this was a really good episode. Last week, I did my review. I said it wasn't the greatest episode, but it was okay. Like I said, Married to Medicine. I don't know why Love and Marriage Huntsville is so much in my brain right now, but Married to Medicine is one of my favorite shows. It's one of those reality shows that I can watch and it doesn't bother me. Even if the episode is not that great, there's always something that I can take away from it, or I still enjoy the show. Like I said, Married to Medicine, they have been consistent every single season. I know some people have watched from the beginning like me. I watched from the beginning. Some people sort of came on after the pandemic, or they started watching later on. But I can tell you guys, if you have seen it from season 1 until now, you may have some seasons that were more or less your favorites. Like mine were like seasons, I think 4 through 7. And but you know, if you watch that like you may have your favorite seasons, but overall Married to Medicine has been a great consistent show. So let's get started. The opening scene was with Quad was she was having lunch for some of the ladies at her house. It was actually for Angel, Dr. Contessa, and Heavenly. Angel was the first to arrive, and then Heavenly came, and then Dr. Contessa showed up last. So Quad, of course, Quad is always a great host. She had plenty of food for them to eat. She told them to go ahead and, you know, just enjoy the food. So while the ladies were actually eating, Dr. Contessa actually, and Dr. Contessa gave Quad like a big bear that had like a little blue bow on it. So Quad was pretty much impressed with that. I think Quad really thought it was a sweet gesture from Contessa, since Quad is trying to get pregnant. But anyway, again, like I said, while the ladies were eating, Quad was talking to Dr. Contessa asked Quad, how was the actual trip to Ghana? So Quad said that she did, I think she retrieved 4 eggs. I want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. Yeah, she said 4 eggs were being fertilized. So she's just like hoping for the best. So, you know, Quad said, well, hey, you know, I wasn't here, but what's been going on? So Contessa went on to say that they had like a bag party, and Contessa was actually just filling Quad in, and of course telling Quad about all the little drama that happened at the bag party when the ladies were making bags. So Quad was like, what's going on? So they were kind of filling her in about Toya and Dr. Heavenly actually getting into it. And so Dr. Heavenly was saying that Toya is coming after her family. She's actually attacking her family. She don't know what her issue is. But going back, if you look at some of the clips, Toya was not actually attacking Heavenly's family in any way. She just happened to ask her what was happening or what was going on, since the information was out there in the blogs. It's not something that Toya dug up. It's not something that Toya actually pursued. I think Toya only spoke about it actually that one particular time. And she just said, basically, in last week's episode, you go after everyone else's family, so that doesn't mean that your family is off limits. But it wasn't that Toya was directly gunning for Damon Jr. or for Heavenly or her family. So I thought Heavenly was a little off base when she said that. And I think Contessa kind of agreed with that. They just, you know, like I said, they kept talking about what was going on. Now, one of the things that I did not like. Contessa kind of joked around and said, well, the whole thing with, well, Contessa said to Heavenly, well, why are we still talking about this? It's old. So Heavenly said, well, it came up in the blog. So I felt like, well, Dr. Contessa and Heavenly are in a pretty decent place. So I felt like she was trying to like, what's the word? She was, I don't want to say she was kissing, maybe she was kissing up to Heavenly a little bit, but not quite, but a little bit. And so she said, well, she was joking. She said, well, did Dr. Simone have anything to do with this? You know, she likes to look up stuff. You know, was she the one that dug it up? Now, first of all, Contessa, pump your brakes. Now, I know that everyone is on this I hate Simone type thing. Simone did not do anything to Heavenly about her son. Remember in episode 1, Simone told Toya, Dr. Simone even told Toya, don't say anything to Heavenly about her son. When they were in Dr. Simone and Cecil's kitchen, both of them said, leave it alone. Leave it alone. So there's no way that Dr. Simone would bring up something knowing that she has 2 young boys herself. Dr. Simone would not bring up or do anything to sort of expose Damon Jr. It just so happens that it came out. It could be because Heavenly's running for office or whatever the case. Whatever the case may be, Simone doesn't have anything to do with that. So, I mean, Contessa, cut it. Like, we can have our favorites, but we do have to be real about what's going on. That was stupid for her to actually say. Also, if you, Dr. Simone did an interview with Angela Yee on her show about maybe, I think it was back in December. And she even said when things come out in the blogs, Angela Yee actually asked Simone, did she feel like Heavenly knew about her son? Simone said that there's really no way that Heavenly didn't know because they are connected to a lot of lawyers, judges, all those things. They deal with a lot of, I guess you would say, upper class people or people who have good jobs, and they hang around a lot of, like I said, attorneys and judges and stuff like that. So whenever something comes up with anybody in the group or with anyone within their family, Dr. Simone said basically they have people to alert them or to let them know, like they can sort of give them a heads up, like this is what's going on or whatever the case may be. And I do believe that. I do believe that they are connected to lots of attorneys and judges and stuff like that. So Dr. Contessa, I mean, you're back on the show. You lost some cool points with me just trying to sort of suck up to Heavenly in that way, because you are seeing, or you appear to be, even on the outside from the show, you seem to be very cool with Simone. So for you to even say that, I didn't like that. But then that led for Heavenly to kind of open up the gate. So, you know, even Quad said, well, why would Simone do that or whatever? So then they got into this big conversation about Simone sort of looking up things. Now, they even showed a clip where Simone admitted that she does that. You know, Quad said, well, why would you look up something in the clip? And Simone said, because I'm grown and I can. Well, it was said that Simone was looking up Quad's house and all of those things. And then Heavenly even went on to say that Dr. Simone told her that she would have looked up Quad's car when King gave Quad that car, that Rolls Royce, that she would have looked it up if she had the VIN number. Now, I'm going to pause once again on that. Heavenly, it's Dr. Simone, all of them probably will never see my videos, but this is what I really want to say about them. Heavenly is by far one of those people. We need Heavenly on the show. She keeps a lot of the things going. But Heavenly is just not a friend to anyone other than Dr. Jackie. I don't get it. Why is it that Simone has to be demonized all the time? Oh, she's hating on Quad. She's jealous of Quad. Do you know, I'm sure Jackie even talks about Quad like a dog, but Heavenly's not going to even expose that. Now, of course, I don't agree with Dr. Simone looking up anything on Quad. I feel like if people are your friend, I don't even care if you don't like them. We know that some things are public record, but you don't have to look up everything. You don't have to look up whether someone's divorced. You don't have to look up where they live, their address, whether they own something or all that. I know a lot of people do that. Like I said, I know certain things in like their public record, but my thing is just, drink your water and mind your business. Like, we don't really have to get into that. Now, if it's something detrimental, if you're, if there's some sort of lawsuit or something that you have going on, sure, absolutely. But just to be looking up other people's information, I really, really, really don't agree with that. That's not who I am. I know some people are just nosy and they really don't even really see anything wrong with it. They say if it's out there, they can look. So my whole thing is, if that's what kind of person you are and that's what you do, cool. But don't try to make it seem as though like Simone is just this evil, nasty, vicious person when people look up people's information all the time. Even bloggers, there are people who, bloggers, even some of your favorite YouTube and content creators, they will, just to verify certain stories, they will look certain things up. So like I said, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Is it something that I do? No, absolutely not. Especially to someone that I consider a friend or someone that I know. That's just not me. I'm not into that. But it's not the absolute worst thing in the world. Not to mention, Simone and Quad were not friends at that time. They were beefing hard. Let's be real about what it was. They were not getting along. I'm not saying that what Simone did was right, and I'm not taking up for her, but if you're not getting along with someone or you're not in a good space with someone, all bets are really off. So Simone looked it up, whatever. So, Quad was really upset about that because she was saying, well, if Simone and I are trying to get back to a better place, why would she be worried about the car that, King bought from me or whatever? And I agree with Quad. She shouldn't be worried about that. But I just think that they perpetuate this whole us versus them. It's always, Heavenly, Quad, and Jackie versus, I guess you would say, maybe Simone, Toya, and Dr. Contessa. And it's just weird to me. And like I said before, and I will say it again, and I'm standing on it, I'm not taking it back, I think Heavenly's great for the show, but Heavenly has done a lot to control and manipulate these friendships. Quad Web, I don't care how much you say Heavenly is your friend. Heavenly does a lot of stuff to you behind your back. I said it in my reviews from last season. I said to, last season I said, Quad, even in season 10, when all of that stuff came out with Dr. Jackie, all of that crazy mess happened with Jackie said about her patients. They were under the impression that Quad was behind that. I feel like Heavenly had a hand in that. I have no proof of that, but that's just my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion. I feel like Heavenly was behind it. Heavenly was controlling the narrative. Heavenly kind of had Jackie thinking that Quad did it. She had some of the other ladies thinking that Quad did it. Remember, Heavenly told Quad, don't call Dr. Jackie because she doesn't really need to have any phone calls. She's not in a great place. Remember, Quad didn't call Jackie, and it looked like Quad had an issue with Dr. Jackie. Okay, so the same with Quad and Dr. Simone. Dr. Simone talks to Heavenly. I don't know why she trusts Heavenly, but she does. So Quad even said during the conversation, well, why would Simone tell you something like that knowing that you were going to come back and tell me? Exactly, Quad. She does stuff to get you riled up. You and Simone need to have your own friendship, because if Heavenly is in the midst, you two will never fully get along. Heavenly does stuff. If Simone said something to Heavenly, Heavenly didn't have to say anything. If Simone and Heavenly are really friends, then Heavenly should be protecting Simone some of the time. She never does that. I really think that Heavenly, something about Simone, Heavenly just does not like Simone. Heavenly wants Simone to be the villain of this show so bad. Dr. Simone is one of the most down-to-earth ones. Has she made some mistakes? Absolutely, positively. I don't agree with everything that Dr. Simone has done. But Heavenly tries to villainize Dr. Simone as if she's this horrible, evil person, when Heavenly is really the ones pulling the strings, and Quad and Simone don't even see what Heavenly's doing. But that's just me, guys. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent about that, but it just kind of set me off when I was like, they finally came to a peaceful resolution. They don't have to be best friends, but things are cool. We don't want to see Quad and Dr. Simone getting into it anymore. And so as soon as you ignited that, Contessa and even Heavenly, I was like, here we go again. So that was just the end of that scene. I mean, like I said, I'm not looking forward to them because I know it's going to come up again because Quad is not going to let that go. But I just feel like Heavenly is just pulling the strings. She's the puppet master. And if these women don't wake up, these women will end up hating everyone and raising and praising Heavenly. And she will be the one that tore all of them down. That's just me. So anyway, King actually came to the barbershop. He met Dr. Eugene and Cecil there. They were getting their, shape ups or whatever. Dr. Eugene was getting, all his face cleaned and, beard and everything shaped up, or his goatee and everything. So they asked, Dr. Eugene asked King how was the trip to Ghana when they got back. King said they just got back. He said they actually were there longer than usual because of the simple fact that, it's a long process. He said it's actually sort of draining him. It's taking away time from his business. It's taking away time from his daughter. He's trying to be supportive while some of his needs are being neglected. So Cecil said, well, yeah, King, he was supportive to him. He said, yeah, man, I see how you're really supporting Quad. And, I think it's a good thing. And, when they're going through things, you really just have to watch your timing of when you say things. And so King said, I know that. So Cecil said, I know when Simone is very busy, she's doing a lot of, delivering a lot of babies. That is not the time to talk to her or to bring up anything that I may be having issues with. And so Dr. Eugene basically said, yes, life is too short. In other words, sometimes it's not even worth saying anything because that argument or what you say can piss a woman off, and it can turn into days, weeks, months, and maybe even years of her being angry about something so simple. So I could understand where Dr. Eugene was coming from. Choose peace. And so that was pretty much the end of their scene. Well, anyway, this was a scene that I was really, really happy about. Heavenly has a brother. Heavenly finally brought some personal story to this show. It's been a very long time since we've gotten any, or if we really gotten any. We know that Heavenly doesn't get along with her sister. We did see, I think, season 4 or 5, where Dr. Heavenly, I think it was 5, when Heavenly went back to visit Miami, where she was born and raised, and she actually went back to the house that she grew up in. But it's been a very long time since we've seen any personal story from Heavenly. So Heavenly has a brother. His name is Travis. He's 5 years older than her. He actually came to her office and talked to her. Heavenly said when she checked the story out, everything was, it checked out. They knew mutual people. She says that is her brother. The father said that, Heavenly asked, Heavenly asked the brother, hey, did you meet my father? He said he did, but he wasn't around long. Travis said that that the father was nice to him, but he just wasn't, around. Heavenly said that her father was in the military, so he did move around a lot. He worked a lot. And then also Heavenly said it sort of changed her perspective on men because of the simple fact that she thought her father was this upstanding guy. He was a deacon in the church. Well, Heavenly, unfortunately, it's just life. It is what it is. All I can tell you is, yeah, he was an upstanding guy. He was upstanding, yes, in other women. And I'm not saying that to be derogatory against Heavenly or her father, but it's just that oftentimes, as adults, we find out that our parents, even especially our fathers, sometimes that they did have they had affairs, they had other women, they were cheating on, our moms, they were doing all kinds of stuff. And it is what it is. I'm not, like I said, I'm not even sort of, downing it. You know what I'm saying? Because my parents divorced because my father was a cheater, pumpkin eater. He was. So, like I said, it happens. We're not glazing over it, but it just is what it is. And like I said, as an adult, you have to look at your parents. You can't look at you. Sometimes we're daddy's girls and we don't want to think that our fathers are like that, but in actuality, they are. So Heavenly just went on to say that she wants to, of course, meet his family. He said likewise he can't wait to meet Dr. Damon and her children. And so Heavenly said that she's going to have a family reunion. She says that she would love to just invite everyone to this family reunion, and she can't wait for them to kind of connect. And I can really see Heavenly really being close to her brother. If it was a sister, I don't know if Heavenly would have had the same response, but because it was a brother, it was a man, she took to him, and I could see like a softer side of Dr. Heavenly through this whole thing. And like I said, it was just a good scene. I'm tired of seeing Heavenly walk around her house talking about, yeah, Daddy, you're a king, you're the greatest, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, Daddy, you want some food, you want something to drink, you want this, yeah, Daddy. I am glad to see Heavenly be Heavenly, because this is really who she is. Yeah, that's a small part of who she is, but Heavenly's putting on with all of that. So I was just glad to see this. So I'm glad that like I said, I'm glad that things seem to be working out, and I hope since they filmed that, Heavenly has really also spent some quality time with Travis, and the family is doing well. That's what I really hope and pray. So we move on. The next scene is with Dr. Mimi. Dr. Mimi was on her way home. She was in the car with little Stevie, and soon after Big Steve came in. Mimi was just out of it. Mimi said she had a rough day. Mimi looked really cute with her natural curls or whatever. I don't know if they're natural curls, but she looked really cute with her curly hair. Mimi was saying that she just had a rough day at work. She said, but then also she had to deal with Stevie and Savannah. She said Savannah went over to the grandmother's house because Savannah is becoming overwhelmed with having Stevie around and just having to deal with a brother who is autistic. So they wanted to give Savannah a break. Mimi said just driving home, she felt overwhelmed. She said her nerves were kind of like just on edge because, just having a bad day or a rough day at work, sort of giving yourself to people who need therapy, and then you're dealing with little Stevie and his issues. And she was saying, you're having a bad day, and then you don't know if something's going to be thrown at you. And, she said it was just overwhelming. So Steve said, look, take care of yourself, go take a shower, watch some mindless TV, do what you need to do for you so that you can be rejuvenated. You can kind of come back to yourself. She said, I feel so bad because I should be cooking, and basically Mimi just felt like she's not being or playing the traditional role of a wife. And Steve said, look, that's not who we are right now. We can't have it be perfect. Let me deal with him. I think even little Stevie knocked over a lamp or something like that, and Steve had to actually go and pick him up and grab him or get the lamp away from him. So it's just one of those things. Mimi and Steve are sharing something very personal. They're sharing their lives, the ups and downs of having a special needs child, and how that can be mentally and emotionally draining, and how it can take a toll on you. And I even wrote on my notes, I shook my head. I said, what happens when the therapist or the psychiatrist needs therapy themselves? And that's exactly what it is. Mimi is just really going through it. And I just hope that, like I said, both she and Steve can kind of get some rest. They're going to have to deal with the situation the best way they can, but they are going to need breaks as well. So kudos to them for actually sharing. So that was actually also a good scene. So we see Dr. Heavenly in her kitchen. She's talking about the actual family reunion, and she decided to have a little competition. Everyone is going to bring mac and cheese, and people are going to vote on who made the best mac and cheese. Now, Heavenly called Dr. Jackie on the phone. Why are you calling Jackie Heavenly? Why are you calling Dr. Jackie? Dr. Jackie has said numerous times over the years in the 12 seasons, Dr. Jackie has never made anything. She's not a cook. You and Simone have had to even go over to her house just to make a simple meal for Curtis once before. I think that was like season maybe 5 or 6 or something like that. Well, anyway, so that means Heavenly doesn't cook either, because Heavenly, at your big age, you're 54 years old, Jackie's in her 60s. If you don't know how to make macaroni and cheese by now, you probably won't know how to make it. Normally, mac and cheese is like a staple in the black households, the black families, and that's one of the earlier dishes that you learn how to make. When you start cooking and you're learning how to cook, that's one of the things that you start making is macaroni and cheese. You know, most people, we love it, so you want to be able to make it. So for Heavenly not to know how to do it, or not to be sure of how to really do it, I was like, girl, just give it up. But anyway, I think it's a cute little idea. So we saw montages of them sort of talking about their mac and cheese. I know Ashton was actually making the mac and cheese. He's going to make the mac and cheese for the Harris family. So he was making his roux and all of those things. And so it was just good to see Ashton really in his element cooking. We know that Dr. Eugene has trained him well. So that was a really cute scene. So then we move on to Dr. Simone and Cecil. So Cecil was saying that the recipe that he's using has been in his family for over 70 years or something like that. So Simone said, well, I used to make, mac and cheese for the boys. And he was like, yeah, you did, out of the box. And they just shared a little joke and a little laugh about that. So she said, but there are some staple things that, that I cook, like spaghetti, barbecue baked chicken. And she said chili. And he was like, yeah, but the chili, something comes out of the pack or something like that. So Simone said, well, that's the problem with you, Cecil. You and the boys, you and Miles and Michael, you really don't appreciate anything that I do. So Cecil said, there it is. Okay, let it out. Give it to me. That's what you wanted to say. So she said, no, I'm serious. She said, I feel like, she said, where I am now, I see that people don't give a F about me. So I don't give a F about them. So Cecil was like, but that's wrong, because you know that I don't feel that way. So Dr. Simone said, well, but Cecil, you don't support me with the boys. You kind of leave me out there on my own. And she said, it's just really not a good feeling. And so, Cecil was kind of going back and forth and saying, well, look, I try to help you as much as I can, and maybe I'm not doing the best job of it, but I do try to support you. And Cecil is going to have to look back at this and to see where he can change and do better, because deep down inside he's saying it, but he's not actually doing it. So Cecil, yes, you do have to support Dr. Simone a little bit more. But, at the end of the conversation, I kind of watched their conversation, because Cecil made a point, and I can't remember what it was, and Simone apologized. She said, well, yeah, I do have to give you credit for that, or I'm sorry about that. And he said, well, if you can see, where I'm coming from and where you can apologize, then I should be able to, you should give me the grace to say, now I see where you're coming from, and let me apologize. So they ended up laughing. Cecil basically joked with her and was saying, hey, he has to deal with things out of her too. He said, I didn't marry a quiet woman. And so she was like, well, see, so I can be quiet. So he said, yeah, when you're asleep. And I thought that was really, it was just a little joke. And Dr. Simone and Cecil, they tend to joke back and forth a lot. But what I wrote down is that that's just their way of communicating. Simone blows up, she rants, she raves, and then they go back to laughing. Simone blows up, she rants, she raves, and goes right back to laughing. So maybe that's just their relationship, their marriage. They've always done that. I think when I'm looking at it, I just think that they're really, really good friends, and maybe they just need a little more passion. I know as you get older, some things kind of fizzle out, but I think they may need some passion. Maybe, Cecil should have just drop that, put that macaroni and cheese, put that spoon down, and maybe he should have picked Simone up and just carried her on into the bedroom, and they did their thing, because maybe that's what's missing. Maybe Simone needs Cecil to be a little more passionate and a little more aggressive. She needs something, and maybe that's just what it is. Maybe she needs the support, but maybe she just needs to feel the love. Maybe she needs to feel desired. Maybe it's just something there, and I think they need to maybe explore that. So that was sort of like the end of their scene. So we go to the family reunion. Heavenly, she did it well. Everyone started to show up. I think Dr. Jackie was there when they started. So Dr. Jackie was one of the first people there. But each family sort of came in, like I think Dr. Simone, the Whitmores came in. I know Cecil, his brother, his nephew, they were there, and Michael was there. I think Miles was at work. Then, Toya and Eugene and their family came in, and so on and so forth. Dr. Contessa was the only one who did not come. So, of course, like I said, everyone was having, they bought their mac and cheese, and Toya was like really like making sure that hovering over and just making sure that everyone tasted Ashton's mac and cheese. Well, Heavenly, her brother came. He brought his wife and maybe his daughter. I did see another young lady with them. And, he met Dr. Damon for the first time, and he met Zach for the first time. Now, also, let me go back a little bit. When they got there, Heavenly did ask Zach, had he spoken to her oldest son, Damon Jr. Zach said that, yes, he had spoken to him. So, obviously, Damon Jr. is doing fine. He's just really angry with Heavenly at this time, and he still doesn't want to be part of the family, or he doesn't want to be around right now. So whatever's going on, that will probably work itself out. But Zach did say that he was okay. So we do know that he was okay at that particular time. But anyway, everyone started coming in. And like I said, it was the mac and cheese off. It was the contest. And so Heavenly made a little speech. She said, she was just grateful that she was able to get everybody together. She talked a little bit about her brother and just was saying that this is basically that family is important. She never had a family reunion before, so she said this is important to her. That part was actually okay. Like I said, the people were eating. I know one lady said, asked Dr. Simone where was her mac and cheese. She said, well, no, I didn't have to do it. My husband did. And the lady was like, oh, lucky you. So I think, like I said, we see that in the South where women are sort of traditional. Women do all the cooking. Very rarely do you see a lot of men cooking. So it's good to see that Cecil and Dr. Eugene actually cook on the show, because in the South, you don't normally see that. So like I said, everyone was having a great time. There was a storm going forward. So the funny thing is that Heavenly introduced Toya to her brother. Everyone else was pretty much, nice to meet you. Of course, Toya going too far. Toya said, your brother? I thought you had a sister. I didn't know anything about a brother. Is this real? Is this for a story or what? And Heavenly was like, no, this is my brother. So of course, Travis was right there. Toya said, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I thought, Heavenly had a sister. He was like, I'm not a sister. So he does have that kind of smart mouth like Heavenly. He cleared that up really quick. No, I am her brother. So I said in my notes, I said, Toya, she's tacky. Toya, you have to just know when to do certain things. I know it was introduced to you to sort of sprung on you, but, let it go. The other people in their confessionals, they talked about family reunions and all of those things. They kind of went through what family was to them. Some of them said they don't. I know Steve said he doesn't know his father, so he's not concerned about a family reunion. Dr. Eugene said he really doesn't know his father's side of the family. Simone said her idea of the family reunion was going to Big Mama's house, which was her mother's or her maternal grandmother's house. And she said she had some fond memories of that. So like I said, everyone got there. Even Angel bought a date, or some guy that she had been talking to for a while. Toya was sort of walking around. Everybody was sort of eating the mac and cheese. Toya was collecting votes. Toya couldn't even enjoy herself because she was collecting votes. She wanted to make sure that everyone had taken a bite or had tried Ashton's mac and cheese. So they had a storm. They moved the party from the outside to the inside. And so Toya had the box. I was like, Toya's so pressed. She's walking around with the box, but she said she didn't want anyone to cheat or to cheat her son. So eventually, Heavenly asked Simone to count the votes. Simone did say that Ashton won. I think he beat Quad by a point, and Quad was kind of upset. So Toya was like, girl, you're going to upset at him. You want to take this from him? Like, girl, let it go. But, you know, she was proud of her son. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, Toya is very proud of Ashton and Avery. Anything that they do, she wants to support them. But it was just like, girl, you were going overboard. But again, that's just a mama's heart, a mama bear. And she loves Ashton, and she was proud of him, and she wanted him to be celebrated for what he did. So everyone was just sort of dancing. They were having fun. Toya actually talked to Angel. Angel introduced Toya to her friend. Of course, Toya embarrassed him. She asked him how long have they known each other. They said over 10 years. She was like, okay, well, what is this? She was like, oh, is this the guy? Because, you know, you told me you wanted me to hook you up in front of the guy. So Angel was like, she just broke girl code all the way down. And she actually did. She kind of put the guy on the spot. She was like, well, what's your relationship like? You know, how was Angel in bed? Toya, this is not a conversation that you have at an event like this. Also, just to question a guy, you know, that you're not familiar with. Toya is so tacky in that way. There's nothing wrong with you being honest or you just being who you are, but you got to kind of pull back some. You got to read the room. Toya doesn't know how to do that. She doesn't have tact. She's just whatever she wants to say, however she feels at that moment is coming out. So that was pretty much like the end of that. But let me say this, guys. Did you notice that what Heavenly had on? Heavenly had on like bikini bottom. She had on like a fishnet skirt or covering over it. But Heavenly had her bum out at the family reunion. Now, Heavenly is all about being appropriate. Don't speak to my husband. Don't say this to my husband. Don't hang around my husband. Don't hug my husband. Don't do this in front of the men. That's my husband, my husband, my husband. But Heavenly, you had your behind out in front of everybody's husband. And don't get me wrong, because Heavenly looked nice. I'm not taking away from that. I'm not approved by I'm just not. Like, okay, if you got it, girl, do it. But you still have to be appropriate. But I just thought to myself, it's not like there was a pool out there. Most of the people just had on like their t-shirt and shorts. But Heavenly had her shirt cut up and she had her booty out. So go, I don't know if anybody I don't know if anyone else saw that, but I took notice to that because I know that Heavenly is all about being respectful in front of her husband. So if Angel was out there like that with her booty out, would you have been okay with Angel wearing that, Dr. Heavenly? But I guess it's okay for you. But I just wanted to make that point. But like I said, it was a good event overall. So the last one was with Quad. Quad called King that he was sitting in the room, and Quad got a call. She got a text or something about her results. Well, she told King that the results were in and that she said only one embryo made it, I guess, to like the developmental stage. I think you have like 6 days. There's a 6-day window that you have. And so I don't think that the other embryos made it. One made it to the developmental stage, but the other ones didn't. So I don't think that was really, really good news. And so Quad kind of cried. She said she felt like a failure. And I felt Quad's pain. When you're trying to have a baby, it means everything to you. Some people really don't understand what not having children means, especially when you want to have kids. There are some people who don't care if they have children. Some people wish they never had kids. But when you want children and you don't have them, it is very, very hard on you. I feel Quad. I understand that. I relate to her. Even when Sweet Tea was trying to get pregnant, I relate to her. I've had 2 miscarriages. I even had to have a hysterectomy, and it was very hard accepting that I could not have children. It was hard. It was painful. It was depressing. I was very sad about it. I went through a lot of changes about it. So I understand where Quad is coming from, and I know that Quad doesn't want to be a burden to King in this time, but you know, you just don't even have anybody. So Quad says she wants to keep going. Even though they didn't get the news that they wanted, she wants to keep going. King said, what is the end game? Now, it was funny because Quad went from boo-hoo crying like, oh my God, this is so sad. I feel like a failure. I'm just going through it and I just don't want to. I'm just so tired of this. I don't know why I'm suffering this way. I've gone through so much. And King was like, well, what's the end game? Like, you know, when does it stop? And Quad was like, Quad immediately stopped crying, guys. Like, she immediately stopped crying. And she was like, well, you know, I don't want you to put any more money up. I want to keep going, and you don't have to, you know, pay for anything financially. I'll cover it, you know, whatever, whatever. And it was so weird because you could just tell that Quad went from weeping to like, wait a minute, what are you saying? So she came out of it quickly, and I can see where this is just really weighing on King. Like Quad, King has a daughter, so it's not like he doesn't have any children. He wants to maybe have a son, but he's not really pressed. And that's the thing, when a partner, when there's one person who really wants the child, but the other person is like, I'm cool whether we do, if we do or if we don't, that can make it a little difficult. So I saw where Quad, King, you want King to feel the way you do, but he really, 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 really doesn't. So that was pretty much the end of the episode. It was a good episode. It was really, really a good episode. I hope that I did my due diligence in giving you all the details. If you haven't seen the episode, and if you have, I hope you still kind of just hung in there with me, and that's it. Let me know what you think, guys. Like the video and subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you thought of the episode. There was a lot going on. How do you feel about Quad and King? That's a big thing even online. A lot of people just saying King's not interested. Quad, you need to just try to have this baby by yourself. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like King is really all the way in, or do you feel like at some point King is going to just tell Quad, let's just give it up and not try for this baby? And also, it was good to see Brandy at the party. I didn't say anything about Brandy. Brandy was there, but she came kind of late, so she didn't really interact or mingle with, or she didn't have, let me just say, she wasn't, her voice wasn't present in this episode. So let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if it was a good episode, not so good. Let me know how you felt about Toya and her running around, just acting crazy, how she even bust Angel out. Let me know what you thought about that. And what did you think about even like just all the conversations, the different conversations throughout the entire show. Heavenly has a brother, guys. She gave us some personal story, and that was great. So again, have a wonderful day. I will see you on my next video. And by God's grace, I will be turning 49 in almost, it's in 6 days. I'll be 49 years old. So I'm going to do some things this week. I said I'm going to have a great week. I'm going to just, try to, of course, birthdays are a big deal, guys. And let me just say this. I know sometimes people really hate when their birthdays come around. They don't like to be celebrated. But I'm the type of person, I've always enjoyed birthdays, not just my own, but anyone's birthday. I feel like everyone deserves to be celebrated. And just the way people are leaving this earth and getting out of here, you owe it to yourself to just be grateful to see another year and to really just have fun and do something for yourself. So, like I said, I'm going to try to have a great, great week, and I hope you do the same. And I will see you soon. Bye.